right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Monday Night Formula action here in Hungary. It's Kevin Kirkbride here filling in for Al. We have Brad Maris joining us tonight. Brad, welcome.
Yeah, hey, good to have you here, Kevin. Too bad Al got caught up in a bit of that weather that was going on back east, but got a good broadcast event here tonight, I think. The 7th round of the championship coming up. Kevin, it's a tough one. This Hungaroring, I love this track, but I think tonight I might love not driving it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, speaking of the track, we're going to pull up the track map now. 14 corners, a car that's very difficult to drive. This could be another very tough test, as you mentioned. We're going to be heading over to qualifying here shortly. Drivers just finishing up some practice laps. You can see the times there on the left. But talking about the effort these guys have put in so far this evening, Brad, the championship is very, very close, and we'll get to more of that later.
Yeah, holy cow, it's close. You're absolutely right. The guy's not quite yet flipped over to qualifying, but the story of the day around here is going to be just the challenges of finding grip on this track. There just isn't much out there, Kevin, and some of these low-speed traction events, getting into the corner as well as off. Usually we talk about the acceleration on these cars, but tonight it's going to be getting into as well. So, yeah, pretty tricky challenge here tonight.
Yeah, we're riding on board with Aaron Parsons as he finishes up some practice. We've just jumped over to quali.
Yeah, and here we go. It could be as important this qualifying session tonight as any event we've had yet this season. Boy, I tell you, that Simard was looking pretty sharp, though. I mean, basically leading the way here in this week of practice, and really since even before that, in initial testing, been quick around here as Simard.
Yeah, Simard's been fast all season, especially with this one lap pace in quali. A little bit different as far as consistency and lap times in the races, but we're going to jump on board with Joe LaCour as he takes them out for the out lap. Rolling through some of these guys. Joe LaCour's been dealing with weight all season. He's carrying 20 kilos tonight. Simard, one of the first races in a while, he has nothing on board, so the French connection duo looking good. Parsons not carrying anything tonight, nor is Houston. Houston will be carrying 20 actually for penalty ballast. Moses carrying 25. Then who else do we have? DeGraw carrying 30.
I am not sure, but that sounds about right. He's got some weight. Yeah, and so another challenge for some of those guys with the weight around here too. Ooh, Ian's going to back off and let teammate Simard on through there.
We'll jump over to Simard. Simard carrying the 20 fewer kilos, so Joe LaCour may be recognizing that, letting him jump by.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right about that no weight. It has been an interesting season here for Philippe Simard. Look, I think, I don't know if you can call him the preseason favorite with guys like Aaron Parsons and Chris Moses hanging around the paddock, but look, we knew he was going to come in with a lot of speed, and he's showing it. Trouble is, when he hasn't shown that speed, he's shown 0 points due to DNS. For one reason or another. Last week was another one of those at Hockenheim. Now, was not his fault, okay, but still came away with no points, so now dropping to 3rd in that championship. But it's it's very tight. I mean, 3rd is almost as good as 1st in this championship right now.
Yeah, very tight. It's going to come plenty of races left to show some consistency and put in a good finish to close the season. But on the flip side, Marc DeGraw, a guy that's hasn't won any races, but he sure has finished high in all of them, and he's leading the championship tonight. So
yeah, and really what a...
Go ahead, Brad. No, go ahead, Brad.
I was just going to say, really what a story it is for Marc DeGraw now. So 9 points clear in that championship lead. Look, that's big news. This is not really... It's more or less a bolt from the blue, really, having Marc DeGraw come up this season, so it's been great to...
Yeah, I mentioned Marc DeGraw. Marc DeGraw does have a no-qual tonight for a first lap's incident at Hockenheim last week that kind of sent Simard off track and down into the field. So DeGraw carrying the 30-kilo success ballast plus a no-qual tonight. Simard takes it to provisional, then Parsons jumps right past them by a 10th. Jump on board with On board with Moses. Moses just finishing a lap. Like Joe LaCour may have... Nope, he jumped back in and he's going out for another one as well. So first indication showing these guys are looking to do maybe the 1 lap and not risk the 2.
Yeah, that's a possibility, and honestly, I hadn't done any qualifying recon laps, so I don't know what kind of tire wear these guys are going to get. The qualifying tires are going to hold up or not, but I mean, that's a pretty good indication that they aren't, if they're only going to run a single lap, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that 26.1 there by Parsons, and not too bad by Simard, but what, we see that best time on the server right now is that Philippe Simard with that 25.2 thereabouts.
Yeah,
so
we'll go on board with
Wathan
Wathan here.
Nice early time by Wathan with full 1.6 seconds off, but, you know.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that tonight. We spoke briefly about that. Head on down to Sean Ricker. Sean Ricker, podium finish last week. Highest finish. Only done a few Monday races. Didn't take him long to jump right onto the podium, so he's going to be carrying a little confidence tonight.
Yeah, what a clean race he had last week. It was great to see, and I mean, hey, he picked up some nice points too. I mean, why not?
Why not? So Ricker bringing it around turn 14, going to give us his first offering for the night. No improvement from Ricker. He's at P6. A little bit of improvement there. It seems like Joe LaCour is on a flyer coming to the end in the 3rd sector. Multiple race winner this season, Joe LaCour. A little loose there. Very nice up to P4 for Ian. Parsons only a 10th off of his time.
Whoa. Yeah, whoa.
Simard even threw... No. Simard even threw 1. Gonna have to check, get back to everybody on this. So there are some interesting cut rules tonight where, normally going wide is okay, but the guys have been informed to keep it tight through some of these exits tonight. So need to keep an eye on that. I'll check those corners here right now.
Yeah, Gup, Al is experiencing technical difficulties there in the Northeast. Some weather came through, and Kevin Kirkbride is on the main channel here tonight. Thank God for Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for the fill-in work, by the way.
Oh, happy to be here. Let's see. So Glemansky only 7/10 off through the 2nd sector. Glemansky, another guy. Him and DeGraw right up there in that team championship. They both started as solo drivers. We'll head away from him. Wathan only 4/10 off. But yeah, back to Glemansky. Glemansky and DeGraw again started as solo drivers, joined forces a little later in the season, and they find themselves in the thick of things here. So Glemansky looking strong at P3 right now. Wathan put the pressure on him, loses it again. Taylor a 10th up.
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned how difficult it is, these guys turning laps in qualifying. And it's one thing to go for your best lap in qualifying and make some spins. Yeah, we're going to see that. The real deal is going to be in the race, right? I mean, qualifying doesn't... you're at the back of the grid, you can move your way forward, but if you spin after you get the pole in the race, well, then you're at the back, right? So, which is the more important?
Taylor bouncing it around a little bit, still only 3/10 off. Ooh, that's not going to help. Gets it loose. That's one of those corners there. Let's see. So turn 4 and turn 11 tonight. 4 is the left-hander at the end of the 1st sector. Guys running wide there only get 6 of those this evening. And then 11, the right-hander, running wide there, again 6 as well. Or else they will be docked a lap. They go over. Go on board with Parsons now.
Yeah, it's worth noting and paying attention to if you're these guys, because it's plenty easy to do.
Yeah, so there's that turn 11 right there that Parsons is going through. So running wide there will be an issue with the competition committee. Actually, that was 11 there. Watching these onboards, we are seeing just how difficult it is for these guys to get on that throttle cleanly, get in the car to settle in, get into it set, and then get on the throttle and get out.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible.
No improvement for Parsons. Joe LaCour just did his best lap, still in P3. Lekmansky's on an out lap. Moses down there, P12, only 5/10 off. Now, Moses is a guy that's been struggled early on in the season. A lot of very poor finishes. He's come on as of late, and he's right in the thick of things for the Drivers' Championship, but maybe struggling a little for time. I know he's been working a lot lately. Let's see what kind of effort he can put in here. This would be an improvement on his time, but go ahead, Brad.
I was going to say that's the thing with a guy like Moses. I mean, it's just a matter of number of events, right? I mean, these guys are going to find their way forward. It's just how much ground have they given up to the other guys around him?
Yeah, they've done a great job fighting some gremlins. Moses will improve one spot, but not quite the pace he's looking to have. He does have
marginal.
Yeah, he does have that 25 kilos on board, though. That could be playing quite a role. A little big anchor there. Let's see. So running down the field, we got Parsons P1. We got Lekmansky and Taylor both up at 10th. Jump on board with Lekmansky.
Kevin looking quite strong at Hockenheim last week. Also ran into some bad luck. He and Matt Taylor actually got it a bit wrong, and Lekmansky kind of had nowhere to go, so that was unfortunate. So he's looking for a little redemption here tonight. Looks like he's finding it at the moment.
Yeah, Taylor's even through that second sector.
Lekmansky, hold on to it here. Oh!
Taylor jumped up to P4 in the meantime, and he's staying out for one more flyer. Simard even through 2 sectors, starting to find his rhythm.
Yeah, and you know Simard, he knows that he can turn. Oh, he's going to pull it off.
Yeah, I think that
he can. He knows he can turn a better lap, right?
Absolutely.
So he's still looking for that 25 too.
Wathen loses it again after being only 3/10 off. Ryan Robbins, haven't watched him yet. Ryan Robbins, consistent top 10 guy this season. He's sitting in P7 right now and looking to improve if he can get these last few corners right. Taylor 3/10 up through 1 sector. We'll jump to him in a moment. Whew. So Robbins does set his fastest, or just off his fastest lap. Let's see, jump on board with Taylor. He's got the last corner to navigate here, 10th off.
Yeah, I had given up some time last lap, so let's see if he can manage to improve
that. Looked like a very clean exit, but just a little bit. Joe LaCour's even through a sector.
Oh! Boy, I don't know, Kevin. I don't know how these guys are going to manage this race. This is going to be extraordinary. Look, Hockenheim was horrible, but this is like extraordinarily. This is like next level difficult.
Yeah, on board with Kevin Miller here as he tries to see if he's up to snuff for the challenge. I agree. We've had some ugly events all season long, and it's not down to the driver's skill. It's down to the car, the difficulty of the track, the competition around you, and so far tonight, this looks like it could be another race of the same. Lekmansky and Parsons both even.
You know, I would be a little bit more optimistic if we saw, I mean, the track is very tight. It's very short lap time. We should see the times close together. People making mistakes, but still the times should be relatively close, and they're just not. And these guys are trying to keep it on track. I mean, they're trying. They're really giving it a shot.
So Mansky a 10th off through 2. He's
looking good. Got the very quick Robbins in front. Oh, he gives way.
Look, Mansky got his first NAGP win at Interlagos this season. Seen quite a bit of success after that. Some ups and downs, but he's had some good runs. Showed good pace. Comes to the line, and he's 6/10 off. So this third sector, the people aren't able to put down what Aaron Parsons was able to put down through there. Jump on board with
not yet.
John Houston as he comes to the line. No improvement.
As you watch John Houston there, I will say I did watch Aaron Parsons on that 126 one lap, and I tell you, he got through the second to last corner extremely fast, way faster than anybody else. Was able to turn the car through there. Much better than I've seen other drivers able to do.
Jump on board with Taylor here.
Yeah, coming up to a very tricky little chicane here. Car will get upset on entry as well as on exit, especially on exit, coming over that curbing. Now these sweepers are not so terrible to get the car through. Ooh, a little bit on throttle oversteer there, but in general this section isn't too bad. It's primarily the corner coming up here, this right-hander, and then the final 2 corners.
He is 2/10 up. He's backed out of it.
So he's running multiple laps now.
I'm not sure who was in front of him, but for whatever reason he decided he was not interested in being around him.
Yeah, interesting. When you're up like that, you tend to take a chance, right?
Yeah.
Even if the car in front of you is on a flyer, you still take a chance and hope they make a mistake. You can get by, but yeah.
See how that goes. We'll jump back to Taylor in a moment. Parsons and Simard both even through the first sector. These guys separated by 1 point in the championship. Parsons 111, Simard 110. Go on board with Simard here. Jump up to Parsons. Yep, Simard 2/10 up. Stick with him.
Yeah, has found some pace. We saw Aaron Parsons get through that third sector, so we know that the pace, that's where Philippe is going to have to challenge for that pole.
Yeah.
Pretty good here.
Parsons going to come to the line before him. No improvement. Simard does improve. 3/10 up over Parsons. Taylor, meanwhile, was up 2/10 and then lost it. Lukamansky even through a sector, then 2/10 off through 2. So excellent. Simard dipping into the 25s.
You know, Kevin, one thing we didn't talk about, looking at the, over the week of practice, they may or may not have had wind. You know, we're using some wind and other weather effects out there, and that wind is blowing at 19 kilometers per hour out there. That could be throwing the dice are rolling a bit wrong for some of these guys.
Yeah, so look, Mansky improves best lap there, 26.2. So he's going to bump Taylor to 4th. Yeah, speaking of the wind, in both leagues, it's been something that we've had this season in the Thursday League, both seasons, for the Monday the last couple seasons. And we've noticed it at Spa in the Thursday events where just a drastic change with these winds that are coming in at just a certain direction will really throw off your entry to corners, braking. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
No one on board. Let's see. Mike Monahan coming to the line. No improvement there. Lukamansky sitting in the pits. Wathan. Let's see if we can't get Wathan to get through this chicane here.
know, you have to say, Watkins actually put in a reasonable time. Started
he
off
has.
1.6 back. Is, you know, he hasn't gotten much closer, but he hasn't fallen farther off, right? So he's obviously been improving his laps.
Yeah, we've seen how challenging this is, so P7 is nothing to be upset about for John right now. Currently on pace to improve, but he's got to nail these last few corners. Taylor again up through the first sector. He will need to close out one of those laps here soon if he wants to be in the front row. Pretty clean there for John. No improvement for him. He's going to stay there in P7. Taylor backed out of his lap. Simard's a 10th off. Parsons, not sure if he's going to improve, but he might start another one. Gotta think with
well, if not this time.
Yep. Well,
Go ahead.
I was going to say with Parsons, Simard, and Taylor, none of these guys carrying weight. You would think, you know, them as well as Mansky are the four guys that really have a shot at the championship or at the win tonight. So these last few laps, they want to start right up there on front, be able to pick their strategy. I'm not sure if this could be one of those races where mediums and softs are playing out, so the guy up front can really dictate the race here.
Yeah, they could be playing out. I was kind of thinking about some of those permutations.
Oh.
Is that the right word?
I think so. Joel gets it wrong.
You know, I was kind of looking back there at DeGraw and thinking about the very difficult nature of this track and thinking, you know what, that might not be such a bad spot to be, maybe, if you're DeGraw at the back. Now you have to avoid the carnage in front, yeah, but you have to go slow anyway, right? So why not just kind of hang back for a couple laps and wait for everybody to drive off track and see where you end up? Might not be such a bad idea.
On board with Ekman as he looks to improve. He's capable of just jumping David Zahn here if he can get this last corner right. Is not able to do so. So guys lining up for their last runs here. Kamansky is not, though. He's still in the pits. Robbins in the pits. Everybody else on an out lap. Yeah, DeGraw, as you said, 30 kilos, no qual. A type of race where guys in front of you are going to have some problems. There's going to be some carnage. Yeah, he's been a very patient driver. He's been very consistent.
Yeah.
If he can show that patience and that consistency, this could end up being a very good result for him tonight. I
mean, if you have the weight anyway, and you maybe want to shed some weight, but don't want to do terrible damage to your points, it's actually almost the ideal situation to be in.
Yeah. So going on board with Simard here, even through one. Parsons and Taylor also even through one.
Boy, that Lekmansky time is looking pretty good there in third. Just so close to their Parsons there for that P2 position. So it can be a close fight here on these closing laps.
Yep, Lekmansky's going to bring it out of the pits for one more shot. Simard 2/10 up. Taylor had to bail on his lap, went back in.
Taking advantage of that curbing there was Simard. Got through there well and gained time. So that's I would not have expected to see that, but it worked well for him. And he's in for an improvement, Kevin.
Yeah, huge improvement. Improves by 5/10 over his previous time. He's now 7/10 up on Parsons, who a little loses it out of the final.
Yeah, time for one more. Got to get out fast.
Got to get in, get right out. Joel LaCour looking to improve a little bit. He might be able to jump Taylor if he can keep this one going.
Yeah, and what a position it would be for the French connection, Ian Joel LaCour and Philippe Simard, to start first and whatever. Ooh, Ian's going to pull the chute here.
Let's jump down real quick to Miller coming through the turn 14. I think he's got one going here. So 27.8 his best lap. That's going to put him up to P9. Ricker bringing it through the final 2 corners. Ricker now bumping Miller. Ricker takes P9. John Houston, 20 kilos tonight, sitting in P8. Not bad. And might be able to improve that time here.
Yeah, he's going to want to. He figures very prominently in that championship fight, both in the team and driver classification.
Houston's going to back out of it. Ricker only 4/10 off. We'll jump on board with him. So we're going to switch over to Taylor. Taylor's 2/10 up. Taylor, a guy has won a lot of races. He's won a Monday Night Open Wheel Championship, and this season just has not gone well for him. Whether it's equipment or race incidents, he's had some problems. So he's going to be looking for one of these races to grab that win for the season, but loses it there again.
Agreed, and quickly staying on Taylor, I'd have to say also, in addition to some bad luck, he has not looked terribly good at times. I mean, you know, I'll call it like I see him. I'll give a guy credit, but, you know, frankly, he has not looked as sharp as he has in the past. Not to say that he's not sharp, but the Jordan, for whatever reason, I don't think he's gotten on as well with as some of the other open wheel cars.
Yeah, and we've seen it. It's not just him. A lot of guys are having trouble with this car.
Yeah.
But yeah, just basing his results off of others, it has been a little bit of a down season, I think, by his standards. And like, you know, just think he'll be looking for one of these races to grab a win and you know, grab a good moment to finish things off, especially with the team still in it. So Parsons there. Again, losing it a little bit. Joe LaCour, maybe one of the only guys left out there. We'll jump to him. He's 2/10 off.
Yeah, you guys getting some extra pit stop practice, and from some of the shaky nature I've seen of a few guys trying to enter, it's probably a good idea.
Nice exit there from Ian. Gonna have to absolutely nail that to jump Taylor, but you can't do it. So Philippe Simard by 7/10 over Aaron Parsons gonna take the pole. Excellent work by Philippe. Well, quite the chaotic qualifying. You know, it took guys a while to figure it out, maybe not quite having a qualifying setup, but finally they do figure it out, and Simard on top as we head to the little break here.
Yeah, Kevin, I'd say it was more or less what we expected. Obviously the weight is playing a pretty big role around this track. I think it would anyway, but given the low grip nature, being able to put the power down, guys with the weight are obviously going to suffer quite a bit more than they might even otherwise, right? I think, you know, the standout to me really is Chris Moses. He's got the 25 kilos, but there's, you know, guys further up with him with about the same weight. 13th place is for Chris Moses tonight. That's not so great when you're dealing with this type of track and trying to move your way forward, right?
Yeah, so Chris Moses P13
so
with the 25, as you mentioned. Yeah, that is surprising down there with between Joel and Peter. A little further up, like you said, some guys with similar weight. John Houston, 20 kilos, sitting P8. Ricker, Miller, both with weight. So, yeah, maybe Moses a little late to the party this week, working on the setup. So you guys in the drivers' meeting, we're going to pull up the driver standings. We've talked a lot about this through the quali, and we have Mark DeGraw P1. Shockingly, Mark DeGraw's super consistent season, as you see from the race results there. 120 points, Parsons 9 back, Simard 10 back, Moses 12 back. So, yeah, looking at that championship, Moses the odd man out, and DeGraw with the no call starting from the back. So we'll keep an eye on that. And looking at the team standings, the French Connection, that's Simard and Joel LaCour. They have 205. T-Brock Dam Bam, 198. That's Houston and Aaron Parsons. Precision Motor Racing, 197. That's Moses and Taylor. And Legier, that's Mark DeGras, Kevin Lekmansky, they have 196. So there's 9 points separating P1 through P4. How rare is that, Brad, in any GP this late into a season?
Well, it's difficult to say because it's never happened before. I mean, can you call something rare that's never happened? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's a different classification. The team points to this stage of the season is absolutely ridiculous. It's basically tied. When you have both drivers collecting points, you have huge swings, right? 9 points. That's the same as the individual driver championship between just first and second. That's absolutely stunning and incredible and shocking and surprising and
yeah, it is.
And really awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, too. And well, you mentioned DeGraw. Yeah, okay. Well, that's tough luck, but Lekmansky, man, hey, that's great. Put it up there in third. So there you go. There's the team dynamic playing out right there, and that's what makes it so interesting and why I love it so much. So it's just a hell of a fight, and I think last week was a big test for these teams, and given the very difficult nature of that track, this may be even more so, because I'll be honest with you, Kevin, there are going to be people that go out of this race involved in this championship fight. I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, there's nothing for it.
Yeah, I don't think we've had a race yet where a big name, multiple drivers, 5-6 drivers are out by the halfway point. It's just the nature of the series this season. So consistency will be key tonight. Might as well take a quick moment to run through the order. So I'll kick it off. We got Simard P1, Aaron Parsons, championship rival P2, Lekmansky P3, Matt Taylor P4, and then Joe LaCour sliding into P5 tonight.
I didn't talk much about Ryan Robbins, but he put in a very nice time for 6th. John Wathen held on to a nice time as well for 7th. John Houston of T-Brock Dam Bam starts 8th. Sean Richter put in a fine time for 9th, and Kevin Miller starts 10th.
Yeah, David Zahn, didn't mention him really at all, but very nice job by David Zahn, P11, Joel Ekman in 12th, Moses P13, Peter Burke 14, and Monahan sliding in at 15.
Greg Myers just back from the Far East. He's going to start 16th tonight. Brian Story takes 17th. Tom Traskell starts 18th. Jake Feemster starts 19th. And yeah, Mark DeGraw is going to take that 20th spot after that no qual for the incident last week.
All right, yeah, so looking through the tire selection, guys have about 2 minutes to go. But tire selection has been something that's been an issue this season. Do you do the softs? Do the two-stopper? Do you put on the mediums? As you've mentioned, the fuel, that extra weight, really slows the car down. So you gotta baby it through those first few laps before you find the pace. But that said, Simard, Parsons, both on softs at the moment. Lekmansky, Taylor, mediums. So we'll kind of see as we get a little closer if any of these guys are just playing possum if they switch it up.
Well, I think we are going to see some different strategies here tonight, and I don't think the guys really know exactly what to do. I can tell you I was talking with a few guys just before the race, and it was still a little up in the air. But in general, it looks like it's going to be halfway on the mediums or 2 stops on the softs. So honestly, Kevin, your guess is as good as mine. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
Well, hopefully Greg is just stepping away because he's currently on the qualifying tire, so hopefully he takes a quick look at things before he presses go.
Yeah. That'd be good, yeah. It has been a couple weeks since he's been in action here, so.
The championship fight, super close as we saw. Consistency a key, but this first lap, little room for these first two corners, but these guys, you know, as you mentioned last week at the start of the race, you'd think they'd kind of ease in, but we haven't seen that. They just go all out as soon as the green flag flies, and should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the name of the game here, really honestly, is survive. I said it last week. I'm going to try to say it again. The guys up front, that's really, I think, all they're going to be thinking about is just keeping traction on the car, even if they have to run slower and maybe give up some spots. The veterans of the veterans, that's what they'll be doing. They could still make mistakes and end up in the wall. Could still happen, but that's got to be the goal.
It's about 10 seconds to go to the green flag. A lot of pressure on these guys tonight. Here we go. Lights are on. On board with Simard. Parsons got about the equal start there. Fairly clean through the first corner for the top 10. Parsons getting a little bit of a run there on the outside. May have advantage going to turn 3. Guys giving a lot of room. Joel Lacour all the way up to P3. Oh! Parsons gets into Joel Lacour. Joel Lacour is going to be shuffled back as Simard opens up a second gap already.
Boy, nice that they were able to keep it on track right now at the back of the field. Things are looking okay. Everybody's still going the right direction.
Yeah, Joel Lacour didn't lose out too much. Only down to P6. Take a quick look at his car. That front wing is definitely mangled. Not sure what other kind of damage he may have. He's going to put it inside Taylor here. With damage, but a nice recovery from Joel Lacour. Got completely turned sideways by Parsons. Not putting fault on Aaron, but definitely contact between those two. On board with Lekmansky, Wathan, and Joel Lacour.
And Myers coming in. I think he realized his qualifying tire mistake, so unfortunately did not get those shoes switched to the race rubber.
Joel Lacour now fighting with Wathan. Wathan in P5, excellent. As high as we've seen him since Interlagos earlier when he was running around the podium places. Whoa! Whoa! So Wathan's got it backwards. Sorry about that, John.
Field did a nice job making it through there. So tough luck for John, but at least looks like most of the field survived. And we're off. Okay, so first order of business done. Survived lap 1 for most of the guys.
We're going to stay on here with Taylor as Taylor, Houston, Ricker work lap 2. Taylor on the mediums running through the tires, their final choices. Let's see, Simard on the softs, Parsons, softs as well, Joel Lacour softs. So Kamansky, first guy opting for the mediums as well as Taylor, and then Houston behind these two on the softs.
Yeah, interesting. We are definitely going to see some differing strategies play out here tonight. I'm pretty sure Houston is going to plan on doing that one stopper. I can give it away now.
Whoa, Houston takes it down the inside. Taylor's certainly going to fight back.
Excuse me, 2 stopper for John Houston, what I meant to say. So this is fine. Go ahead and get yourself in a fight, but just don't bloody each other up at this stage.
Got a nice 6-car train here. Joel Lacour all the way back to Miller. This is the kind of type of time of the race when the smallest mistake when cars are this close can send you so far back. You just really need to settle in. And these guys have done a good job of that. Joel Lacour even getting bumped, holding on to P3 now. Just keep it on the track. Keep fighting.
Yeah, our field separated still by only 20 seconds. Now it's been 3 laps, but trust me, 20 seconds is not so big a gap in these cars. In fact, it's basically nothing. So you're absolutely right. Everybody is doing a great job. This is what I expected to see last week at the start of Hockenheim. We're definitely seeing it here tonight. Very veteran drivers out there.
Yep. So Houston got by Taylor, already opened up that gap to Matt, the difference between the softs and the mediums. So he'll be working on the next medium runner. That's the Kamansky directly in front of him now. Gap up front, Simard and Parsons still hovering at a second.
Yeah, and quite a gap those two have opened already up over third place. I mean, clearly it looked like they were going to have the pace, right? But the question is going to be, how much do you try to get away with pushing if you're Simard or Parsons, right? I mean, not just now, but over the course of, I mean, how much do you push? Because of the slightest, tiniest bit, you know, 0.5% over the limit, and it's over.
Yeah, the risk of going for those extra points for earning a slightly higher position, is it worth it to do that and risk losing all of your points because the catastrophic nature of the incidents these cars have seen through the championship? So Houston still, whoa, right behind Lekmansky, locks them up. Definitely some different entry speeds there with the compounds and difference in fuel load.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to talk over some of those great fights. But if you are Simard or Parsons at the front running 1 and 2, you know, it's, well, as we see, Houston maybe line out that pass now.
Yeah, Houston's going to put it down there again. Got by Taylor that way. Kamansky too far back to get that fight back done. Different compound he might have been.
Veteran move.
Yeah. Excellent overtake. So 2 laps in a row. Houston gets Taylor and Lekmansky there at turn 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, because Houston's a guy that can sometimes get in over his head, but certainly not in this instance. He measured both those passes perfectly.
Back with Ryan Robbins, Monahan now, Traskell just behind. Traskell and Ryan Robbins, teammates, as you can see. Now, Traskell's a guy we don't talk about him a lot, but you know he's shown steady progression this season after joining last season for the 98T, and better racecraft, better overall lap and lap pace and consistency. So Traskell doing a nice job here in P13.
I completely agree. That was almost, that was almost a serious mistake. He did not recognize that situation in time. Just as we're about to, I was about to say, I'm saying I completely agree, and then I can't believe I'm watching what I'm watching.
Right.
But, but no, I do completely agree. And Robbins, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ryan Robbins did qualify inside the top 10, did he not?
He did.
Yeah, so I don't know what he's doing back here in 12th, but nonetheless, yeah, I completely what you're saying about Traskell. I think the racecraft could continue to improve as we just saw, but I'm seeing it just like you are.
Yeah, it's not easy to come into these leagues with guys that have been doing this maybe a decade, you know, maybe 5 years, but quite a long time, and you know, they put a lot of effort into it, so it's not easy to jump in with a new group and completely match the pace, but he's shown quite a bit of effort and improvement. Kudos to Tom.
Man, what a fight these guys are having.
Yep, we're on board with Traskell just behind as he's working on Monahan. His teammate Robbins just slipped by. DeGraw, meanwhile, behind this battle. So DeGraw, championship leader, up to P14 with the no qual and the 30 kilos on board.
Yeah, and right now, if I'm right, excuse me, if I'm Mark DeGraw, I'm thinking, now wait a minute, half the field was supposed to be off by now. I should be running up in about 7th place. What the heck's going on, right?
Yeah, speaking of that, we did lose Wathen. Didn't catch what had happened to them about 4 laps ago. Wathen checked out. Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, so, but I have to say, I have been keeping an eye. Yeah, I have been keeping an eye on DeGraw, and he has moved through the field very cautiously, just as you would expect. So, I'm sure that he would have liked to pick up a few more positions by now. Honestly, I would have thought that I would have expected to be closer to top 10, but he's doing fine. Yeah,
this is nearly a 50-lap race, so he's got a long way to go. And you know what? I think there's a lot of mistakes to be had in front of him. So a lot of racing left. His lap times are right on pace with these guys, maybe slightly better.
Yeah, here in another couple 3 laps, 3 to 10 laps, the pace of the cars are really going to start to get better. These guys are going to begin to get comfortable pushing a little bit more. And yeah, then we are unfortunately probably going to see some more retirements. But right now, I tell you, I'm impressed. I would be hard pressed to do as well as these guys have.
Yeah, David Zahn starting to creep into the picture here behind DeGraw. Yeah, this is a really tough spot to be when you think you maybe even have just a little bit of pay. Oh, whoa, somebody. That
yeah,
Monahan. Didn't see if he caught anybody else there. It looked like Zahn barely slipped by.
Now I'll get in just real quick, Kevin, for some of our regular viewers. Al Merrimon is out due to power-related issues there in the Northeast. So Kevin Kirkbride has generously filled in. Thank you again, Kevin.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hello, everyone. Yeah, sorry that Al's not with you tonight. You're stuck with Kevin. We gonna move up to Moses and Miller. These guys, there's a little three-way fight. Miller, Moses, Ekman here. Moses, the one odd man out here on the sauce, but 25 kilos now fighting against those soft tires. That's an interesting strategy from Moses, carrying that weight, going for the two-stopper.
Yeah, we neglected to check in with Moses. We were kind of waiting for other things to settle down, I guess. But you're absolutely right. It looks like, well, we assume that he's going to be running two stops from here. Now, he's tried that in the past versus guys that were running the one stop. Didn't work out well for him there at Mexico. So we'll see if his fortune's better here tonight at Hungaroring.
As these guys continue to fight a little further up, looks like Joe LaCour just had an off. He's coming back on track. He's still dealing with damage from an early incident, but he's dropped down to P7 now. He was running P3, so that's going to slot Ricker, as you see on your screen, into 6, Taylor 5, Lukmansky 4. Houston's made it up to P3 with that Joe LaCour off, and Parsons, very well done at P2. You know, a couple seconds back behind Simard now, but lap times are close between these two.
Well, right now it's T-Brock Dambam, teammates Aaron Parsons and John Houston sitting second and third, so that's looking very good for them here, almost a quarter of the way through this race. So they're going to be happy about that, and a bit of a miscue there by Ian Jellicoeur throwing that off track and giving up those points.
Yeah, Joel LaCour on those soft, so his pit window is going to be about 4 or 5 laps, so you could potentially, duck in a little bit early, get that damage fixed, and extend a couple other stints. We'll see what he does, but Parsons making it by some lap traffic.
Boy, quite a few guys on the softs. I wonder if we aren't going to see one or two of these guys on the softs try to make it halfway. We've seen it before. Honestly, I haven't gotten enough laps in here or checked around enough to know if the softs, if it's possible to get them to halfway. Maybe, Kevin. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I know the track temps are a little bit high. Let's see. We've got 40 asphalt at the moment. Those wind speeds at 21 miles per hour, as you had mentioned earlier. So that's a hot surface for these cars. So one stop in the sauce. We'll see. I'm guessing no, though, with those track temps. So moving on back to Miller, Moses, that fight continues. Miller, P8, Moses, then Ekman and Robbins has started to move in on this group.
Boy, they sure have. A bit of a train is forming, and I just jumped back there as well. Once you had mentioned Moses, it kind of got me thinking a little bit about what kind of strategy he's going to employ. Once we saw that he was on those softs, but you're absolutely right. That Ekman pressure is a real thing right at this moment.
Yeah, these guys, if they recognize Moses on the softs and he shows that he has the pace to get by, I don't think they'd fight him with the alternate strategies. But I think this is just Moses' pace at the moment with the 25 kilos, and he's just not able to get by him.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And you had mentioned in qualifying it could have been just down to a lack of practice. And I think you might be right. That could be what we're seeing. But Moses is a veteran of veterans, so he's likely to do the best job he possibly can, right? He's going to fight for every position that he knows he's within his limits that he's capable of. So
Yep, all these guys, Ekman's, Robbins, Ryan Robbins, and Kevin Miller, they've been around for every race this season, and I think, you know, even with the problems we've seen, some of these guys are becoming more comfortable with the car. It's showing the racing's pretty good tonight.
Well, I think one of the things I'm most impressed with, Kevin, is really no drivers out there on track are suffering from practice laps, okay? And that's key. I mean, especially to survive in these things, you have to get the practice laps. There's nothing for it if you expect to survive. So, and that has been very nice to see because, frankly, in the past we have not always seen that. So this is a very dedicated group willing to put in the time.
Yeah, Joe LaCour, meanwhile, making up some ground on Ricker for P6. Looks like Joe LaCour doing laps, you know, about a second faster than Ricker. So should have some pace, but with the damage, we'll see. All these points are huge for these guys, as mentioned, with the championship fight so close.
Yeah, and I'm starting to see some best laps coming. So from here on out, the cars are going to be getting better and better and better. The guys are going to be wanting to push a little bit more and more and more as the laps go by. So now we're going to see what these guys are made of once they put the hammer down and really think, okay, well, maybe I can pick up that position now and get after it.
Joe LaCour maybe taking the inside here on Ricker. He does. Ricker leaves plenty of room, gets a good exit though.
Yeah, well judged by both drivers on that corner anyway.
Yeah, Ricker leaving plenty of space.
I tell you, Kevin, I am impressed. These drivers are showing whoa.
Woo! Joe LaCour does get that move finished.
See a little, what was it, Prost, Senna action, Schumacher.
Oh, Joe LaCour loses the back for a moment, collects it, but Sean might get that run on him now. Gonna back out of it. Meanwhile, Simard up front, 4 seconds now on Parsons. Houston still P3. Houston's going to be, along with Parsons and Simard, those three will be stopping for tires soon, we suspect. Lukmansky there, P4. He's going to be a wild card on the mediums. Taylor just behind on the mediums as well. But it looks like Simard has done a really good job of putting a gap on those medium runners as far as the soft versus medium strategy is concerned for the race win.
Yeah, indeed. So 3 consecutive laps now into 27s. Aaron Parsons has just responded with a 28 flat, but obviously Simard's starting to enforce his will a little bit there at the lead. Yeah,
Simard's been in the 28 since lap 4. We've got that on screen, down into the 27s as you mentioned. Houston a little further back. He's dipped into the 28s, but not quite the pace as these guys up front. So it's going to be Simard and Parsons versus these medium runners. See which strategy proves to be the correct one. But yeah, Taylor still sitting here. Seems to be closing the gap a little bit to Lukmansky.
Yeah. And he's one of those guys, and Lukmansky too, really, if you're on the mediums, when you have to still exercise a little bit of caution, even though the pace of the car is coming to you a little bit, and you feel you can push, and maybe you know, okay, well, I got to try to hold good lap times, right, because those guys are 2 stopping in front of me. But, boy, this track, just the nature of it, catch you out so fast. You still have to show some caution.
Head on back to Moses, Ekman, Robinson, Miller. It looks like Ekman has found his way by Moses. Sorry we missed that. But, so Ekman's Robin, Miller, with DeGraw now closing in on Moses. Not quite there, but there in the gap. So DeGraw, championship leader, watching him. He's up to P12. Yeah,
and what a nice run up. It continues to be be just exactly what the doctor ordered. If you're Mark DeGraw coming over the last, a bit of a slide in the last corner, but nonetheless, things still looking good. So our two-stop strategy guys should be pitting here within the next couple laps.
On board with Simard, see if he chooses to pop in a lap early. Make sure to make a mental note of how long their pits are taking compared to the medium runners. See what the difference is in the fuel.
Yeah, good call. Could be important as well. I tell you, Simard and Parsons are looking pretty good for a two-stop strategy at the moment. Houston, you know, maybe not so much.
Yeah, I think Simard and Parsons have it covered, but yeah, Houston currently sitting on the podium, maybe in jeopardy unless he can start finding some better pace. Still plenty of laps to do so. Back with Robbins and Miller and Ekman. Robbins and Ekman in particular.
Yeah, and as always, these stops are going to be very important for these guys. Especially getting into this very tricky pit lane, getting fueled and getting out as quickly as you possibly can. I mean, just like in the real form of the motorsport, that way easier to pick up positions.
As you mentioned, there's a little bit of a tricky pit entry here. Correct, a little bit of a bumpy pit entry you need to navigate. So
it's the curbs.
Yeah,
very slick.
So hopefully no one has an issue with that, but we've seen it. Just about anything can happen in these Jordan races this season, so hopefully everybody's done their pit entry practice.
Yeah, so if these guys continue to stay out here on the softs, then I'm going to suggest, that they're looking to try to go to halfway on them. I'm not going to quite call it yet, but another couple laps if they stay out. There's no reason not to try to go to halfway.
Let's see, Simard's laps, he was in the 27s. His last lap was a 28.8, so dropped off a little bit. Not sure if it's the tires yet, but this could be his one long stint of the two-stop or the three-stint strategy. So maybe they'll pop in here. We'll keep an eye on Simard, see what he does.
Boy, that Taylor-Lukmansky battle has sure tightened up. Both those guys on the mediums.
I'll hop on board with that now. Taylor gets an excellent run out of turn 3 there. Squeaks by Lukmansky.
Boy, sure does, and got well clear, which is good because to contest that corner in battle side by side, that's a tough spot.
Joel LaCour on those softs, clearly running a different race. But Simard, he does bring it into the pits, so Simard will pop in. Parsons coming in as well.
Whoa.
I didn't see their navigation of the actual entry, but it looks like they both made it in fairly unscathed.
Yeah, Parsons nearly spun it at the line where the braking comes on, so close moment.
While watching Simard and Parsons, Joel LaCour did get by Lukmansky and immediately comes into the pits. Taylor opening up a couple second gap now to Kevin. Simard's out 20.8 seconds. Parsons out. Time went away. I think it was like 21, but it's off the screen now. So 21 seconds for these guys to get fuel for a 15-lap stint.
Very interesting. Good to know. And we should just here in another, 8 laps or so? 7 or 8 laps. See the medium runners come in. Interesting comparison.
So Taylor assumes the lead with Simard just behind. Little lap traffic sandwiched in there. Looks to be Greg. Mr. Myers just back from Japan. I think that gap to Parsons to Simard was about 5 seconds when they went in, about 6.5 now, so not too much of a change there. Ricker on the softs, he's stayed out. He's in P5, has not pit yet, so is he one of those guys running the one stopper on the softs? We will see. We'll keep an eye on him. So if he comes in, Robbins in P6, Miller P7. He's a medium runner. So is Ekman in 8. Moses still out there with the softs in the 25 kilos. He did not pop in. Maybe this lap. And then Houston, he's out into P10. So Houston P3 to P10 on that stop.
Yeah, so Chris Moses has not come in either. Continuing on out there on the softs. He basically only has to make it 5 more laps to make it halfway, but Houston is coming behind.
Yeah, like you said, Moses stayed out, and he stays out again. Now this could be one of those, a couple of these guys have done a soft medium or medium soft strategy this season. There's a little different feel in the car when you switch and get that fuel load, but we'll see if Moses has that in mind. See if he might be coming in a little bit later and hopping onto those mediums.
Yeah, we haven't seen it often, but we have seen it.
Hop on board with Simard here. Look, Mansky right behind. Different strategies, and then Parsons a little further back, but yeah, Simard was putting in those burners, those 27s, and you could see his time drop off at 15 and 16, lap 15 and 16, quite a big drop off. So these guys thinking about running these softs for one stopper. Ooh, can't imagine how they're feeling.
Well, you know, at this point, you only have to make it. You're losing the time on track, but you only have to make it 5 more laps, as opposed to giving up, you know, some 21 seconds in the pits, right? So,
right.
Yeah, you're stuck at this point. I mean, you don't want to throw away good money after bad, right? So might as well go ahead and take the hit and make it halfway if that's the goal, and see where it shakes out at. I'm curious.
Yep, Taylor dealing with some lap traffic here. Looks like maybe Traskell. Simard makes it by. Lekmansky makes it by. So this traffic is, yeah, Parsons has closed the gap a little bit, talking about Parsons to Simard. So that was about 7 seconds. It's down to about 5 now.
Yeah, well, he's up there dealing with Taylor, of course, and Taylor's not going to get out of the way here. Over that, it's a virtual lead, but nonetheless, he's, you know, the further up the order you are, the less likely you are to give instant way to guys off strategy, right? Because you have the possibility of gaining those spots later in the race.
Yeah, especially with Lekmansky right behind, you know, letting someone squeak by can open you up to an attack from the car just behind. And
I tell you, you know what I was just mentioning there was Mark DeGraw. So Houston came in for his stop on the softs. DeGraw, of course, has not made his stop on the mediums, and he runs just behind John Houston now. John Houston came in from 3rd position, right?
Came in from 3rd,
so
yeah.
This either bodes well for the one-stoppers that were toward the front, or very well for Mark DeGraw. If he can, you know, if it's good for John Houston, right, and he can stay with John Houston.
Yeah, so in front of DeGraw, guys that may need to stop 2 more times. Houston, Moses, we're unsure. Ekman, Miller, they do not. Ricker, I think Ricker looking to be on a one stop. So Houston's one of these guys that he could pick off doing the one stop versus the 2 stop. But we'll see how their pace shakes out. Nonetheless, DeGraw doing an awesome job with all that weight coming through from the back. And
yeah,
keeping it clean.
You know, I have to stay with the. Yeah, I'd stay with the exception of Simard and Parsons. The way it's shaking out now, with laps yet to run, I would say the one stop might be the favorable way to go.
Yeah, so while it's looking at DeGraw there, Taylor seems to have made a mistake. He's Simard slipped past, so has Lekmansky. So Taylor down to P3. Yeah, it looks like his last lap 133 flat. So a little bit of a bobble somewhere from Matt.
Yeah, it's possible he backed off, let the virtual leader through, but yeah, it was a little doubtful in that spot. Less likely.
Yeah, if he did, then Lekmansky slipped through as well. We'll have to check in on that later.
But nonetheless, it's fascinating. I'm kind of on the edge of my seat here, waiting for these next couple laps to get this pit stop rotation cycled through for the field and see where everybody's running at.
Yeah, well, we do know Taylor and Lekmansky are in position, so Taylor seems to have a bit of pace on Kevin, at least in traffic here. Lap times, best lap times are similar, both 29.1, but Taylor draws right back onto the back of Lekmansky again and find that spot for the overtake. Parsons, meanwhile, P4 on the road. Ricker, I mean, he's still out there on the softs. He has not pit yet, and you know, he's working lap 21. Or he's working lap 21 on the set of soft tires. Well done to him.
Yeah, absolutely well done, and he's really looking forward to the next lap. He's not going to take it too much past halfway, I wouldn't think. And you got to give it to Ryan Robbins. I mean, I'm super impressed. Wow. I'm really impressed. What a great drive by these guys tonight.
Yeah, Ryan Robbins, no slouch tonight. He's on the mediums, Ricker's on the softs. Ricker carrying the 10 kilos. These guys 5/10 off each other at the moment. Ricker with a slight lockup, but yeah, Robbins consistent top 10 finisher. He's seen some P6, P7 type runs. He's, you know, talking about Tom earlier. He's another one's getting better and better. In AGP, it's awesome to have him. Miller and Ekman, pop back to them for a moment. They're heating up behind. Ekman's teammate Jesse Olsen missing tonight. Like the Mad Hungarian, Peter Zaba was interested in running tonight, but he didn't make it. Would have been nice to see Peter out here.
Ekman takes it off, so that's going to separate those two momentarily, but yeah, you're absolutely right. He was making some nice inroads on Kevin Miller.
Back up to Ricker here with Robbins behind.
Ekman into the pits from 8.
So Ricker going to go ahead and run the full half distance on the softs. And maybe more.
Boy. That, looking at those gaps, Parsons really did close quite a bit with, oh! It was Lekmansky threw it off!
Oh, and he's into the wall again. On board with Lekmansky now as he gets the car back on the circuit. So far lost about 10 seconds.
Oh, that could have been a lot worse. Okay, just hold it together, Kevin.
Yeah, just get it to the
Looks
pits.
like the steering straight. Yeah, that stop was just coming for him, so it could have been way worse. Oh,
yeah, that's what we've talked
so
about.
Important, these team points.
Yeah, that's one of those mistakes. It's not a good mistake, but it's not a race-threatening mistake. He's, you know, losing about 13 seconds now. Get it back in and be able to settle in for some good points.
Oh no, that's in terms of mistakes go, that was relatively minor. Can definitely recover.
Oh.
Yeah,
Watching him navigate these curves. Yeah. Looked like he had a little bit of a light moment over it. So Lukmansky in. Avoids complete disaster. Robin's staying out for another lap, so Robin's going to assume P4. That puts us Simard P1 on the softs. Parsons, his direct rival on the softs, about 4 seconds back, and Taylor's still running on the mediums. He's going to do another.
Yeah, well, why not? I mean, look, Simard and Taylor both have stops to make, right? And it's Taylor only 3 seconds off. So the only time Taylor will be giving up is track time, and then whatever the extra fuel is going to cost him. So, and it's going to be 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah, fuel alone looks like to be about 6 seconds or so.
But that's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
That would actually be a heck of a run up for Taylor. I mean, that puts him in a virtual podium position, right? Depending on how Houston can recover. So, yeah, that could have been a good move. I think the one-stop strategy, properly played, is shaking out to be the way to go tonight.
Yeah, so we're on board with Taylor with Parsons right behind. We'll jump on board with Parsons. Taylor keeps it out for another lap. But,
wow.
Taylor...
So maybe he's doing the run late and takes off.
I think so. Thinking back, I think Taylor might have been one of the guys to do a medium soft. Like I said, it hasn't been much, but he may have been one of the guys to do it.
Boy, maybe. I tell you, and now Aaron Parsons closing up, ever the tactician. You know, some of this stuff is going to be rolling around in Aaron's brain. He's going to be thinking that. And now he's going to be thinking, now wait a minute, Taylor's not coming in. He's going to be holding me up. I better get on with the program here because this guy could be a threat.
Could be a threat. He could also be a threat to his race finish if he doesn't pick the right spot, because Taylor looks to be getting a little loose here.
Yeah, Parsons, he needs to make this move though, especially with Taylor off the pace. And who knows how long Taylor plans on taking it, right? I mean, shoot, he could have started with 200 liters for all we know. So this is not a situation where Aaron Parsons can really be all that conservative.
Even though Taylor looks a little loose, he has set his best laps in the last few. Did 28.6, 28.4, 29.3. Be Parsons closing up again, but Parsons, meanwhile, Parsons running high 28s, 29. So Parsons definitely going to have the pace and the grip, but he's got to find a clean spot to get by.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the situation. If you're Aaron Parsons right now, he knows all that's going on now, and believe me, he knows that he's got to try to make the pass work. So we talk about the nature of the track and needing to be careful, but in this case, you got to push a little bit.
Riding with Parsons, meanwhile, Joel Lacour, Simard's teammate, French Connection. Joel Lacour sitting in P5 now, so things looking good between these two teams, the T-Brock Dam Bam and French Connection, with Moses a little further back and Lukmansky and DeGraw a little further back. So these two teams right now winning the battle for tonight.
So far, Robbins comes in, rejoins in 6th, so nice rejoin for him, and a 26-second stop is going to do him no harm either.
Robbins comes back out on the mediums. Parsons putting his nose in there at 14. Taylor senses him there, backs out, lets him take it. So I think Taylor just knew when enough was enough.
Maybe. Yeah, so it really is on Parsons now to try to open up this gap to the greatest extent possible. Taylor's going to be, I mean, they're even on stops. But if Parsons has the pace, he's going to have to make best use of it as long as he can. If you're Matt Taylor, then maybe you start thinking about, okay, well, if I'm going to go onto the sauce, maybe better to do it earlier rather than later. Give up the track time to Parsons out there if I plan on trying to get that position.
do some lap traffic these guys are working with right now, so hopefully guys keeping an eye on their mirrors. Yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Brad.
Brad's? No, that's okay. I had a comment by Gup in the chat. I'm always chatting with myself. You know, I'll just go on for about forever if given the opportunity, but I was specifically chatting to our Colorado viewer chiming in. Big follower of the broadcast. Thank you for that, Co-Gearhead.
A little further back, Ekman, DeGraw. These guys might be a lap down, but these are still for important points. So DeGraw getting a little closer to Ekman. Feimster a little further back from them. It's hard to tell the gap once they go a lap down. But yeah, DeGraw and Ekman are close for position.
Boy, I kind of feel bad for DeGraw. There's nothing he could possibly do except what he's been doing, but
yeah,
he just hasn't been able to pick up the positions yet.
So these guys are fighting for positions as Parsons and Taylor are also working their way through the field. Now that's DeGraw. That is DeGraw getting by Ekman there, at least trying to. He's running it wide. Ooh. It is one of those corners. They're not supposed to take it all the way out there, so I'm not sure if DeGraw will recognize that. And not sure that was flying right through.
I don't know. Feimster, he was coming up for that position.
So still on board with DeGraw. Feimster loses it. Oh, he does.
Yeah, boy, those are some close moments going into the chicane, though. That was heads up to pull the chute by Feimster, actually, and just bail out, because that could have been nasty. But nice pass by DeGraw. Some tense moments, but he got through for the position, and whew, boy, still work to do. But laps dwindling here, Kevin.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. It looked like Ekman may have been letting off to let that lap traffic through, and DeGraw just took the chance and flew it up the outside, and may have gone a little wide, but kept his foot in it.
It was a bit of a chance, but you know, in the end, it worked out okay, and
Sure did.
And the car's undamaged.
Yeah, so last lap a little slower from these guys. 35 for DeGraw, 36 for Ekman, dealing with the traffic, and still on track though, still running up front. Simard, that gap to Parsons, still 4 seconds, so dealing with a little traffic there. Simard on board with Parsons now. Parsons' best lap, 28 flat, was last lap, so Parsons picking up the pace. Taylor now about 8 seconds back, 4 seconds back of Parsons, and his pace is certainly dropped. He's going to want to pit soon and get those softs on and see what he can do. Houston P4, Joe LaCour P5, Robbins P6, Ricker P7. Most of these guys have already pit. We need Simard and Parsons in again, Taylor, and Joe LaCour, as well as Houston. So top 5 need to pit one more time. I believe everybody else is good to go.
Yeah, a few more of those 2 stoppers coming up soon. Taylor, I think, is in, or he's in.
Yep, so Taylor into the pits.
So we have to assume he's going to go onto the softs. It's going to be 14 laps on the softs, but they should be up to temperature before the last of our 2 stoppers come in. Of course, unless Parsons filled it up and he's going to run the rest of the way, or Simard or something. Don't think that's going to happen. But Taylor was giving up boatloads of time out on track compared to those guys, so I don't think it's going to work out as advantageously for him as I thought it might.
We'll see. He was started the race, I believe, P4. Got a chance to get up into that same range, maybe a slot higher in P3, but I think dealing with Parsons and Simard is going to be a little bit more difficult. See how it plays out. So Taylor rejoins in 5th. Huge gap back to the guys behind, so he can really focus on what's ahead. Joe LaCour slots into P4, Houston P3, those two guys still need to stop again, so that's looking really good for Taylor with only 14 seconds up to Houston for that P3.
Yeah, it's still looking pretty good. Houston and Jolicoeur do have to come in, so Taylor still is in line for that podium position, and those are important PMR points. All other things being equal.
Jolicoeur's throwing it off as Taylor slides by. Jolicoeur gets it back on.
Oh, well, that's an important position swap right there.
With Jolicoeur having to pit again, guys like Robbins and Ricker back there, any more mistakes like that, that's throwing him back into that range with those guys. And like I said, with all those points mattering, he's going to want to keep this together as he gets loose again.
Yeah, those rears must be a bit overheated, so it's very nervous times. I mean, the darn thing you can hardly keep it on track when the tires are in perfect shape, let alone when they're overheated. But I mean, look, Jolicoeur was what, 7th when we first started cycling on the pit stops, and had moved all the way up to 4th, right?
Yep.
So he had done a very nice job moving up, and these are positions you don't want to. You can't just give them away. Believe me, in this competition, you're fighting for 10ths out there.
Yeah, 16 seconds given away on that last lap, 44.6 from Ian, compared to his best lap of a 28.1. So yeah, that was a little bit of a disaster there for the positions he's hoping for. But I think he's slotted to pit this lap or the next. So. Still looking a little loose.
Member of the family chiming in, Scotty chiming in, and we're all hoping he gets back soon. That is Mom's out there in Colorado. Mom's, that's Gup Douglas. So introductions are made. Have fun. Enjoy your time.
Greetings to Colorado. Hello, everyone. So Simard and Parsons in. Jolicoeur likely in as well this lap. Simard and Parsons pit stops about the same. So Simard certainly has everyone clear. He's going to re-enter in P1. Parsons there too. Houston's in, and Jolicoeur's in as well.
So we did not see Simard make the same late stint push that he made in that first stint in the second stint. And I think right now, if you're Parsons, you're thinking, well, now wait a minute. I think I can win this thing. As this race has gone on, I think Parsons has become more confident that he can fight for this thing toward the end, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do in this last.
Yeah, likely Simard has a touch better pace on him with the lap times we've seen, 27.5 versus 28 flat for the best, but as we've mentioned all night, it's kind of like beating a dead horse. It's all about that consistency with these cars, and we'll see who can put it down. Parsons has narrowed that gap. It was 2 seconds. Within a lap, it's a second and a half now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Not sure what's going on ahead here with Simard, but we're watching Parsons as he's fighting these corners, trying to get everything he can out of this car.
Yeah, Parsons had gain time rather than lose it in that second stint, whereas in just the reverse was true in the first stint. Simard had pulled the time out, so that's what caught my eye.
So yeah, Parsons gains a good second and a half that lap. 2:04.8 to 2:06.5, so even a little bit more than a second and a half. Interesting outlap from these two. Taylor, meanwhile, 10 seconds back. He is on those softs. But we'll keep up here with Parsons and Philippe. Philippe, multiple race wins this season. I believe he's won 3 races, but as you mentioned earlier, the consistency has been the issue. This guy, if he's finished the races, he would be running away with this championship, but there's been some trouble, there's been some problems, and he finds himself in a fight, and he's off again! Parsons slipped by. Simard collects it, gives up the spot, gives up a second and a half, but I guess it could have been a lot worse. Just as we were talking about some of the instances he's had this season, there's another one.
Boy, and what a big change of position. And as great as Aaron Parsons is, and as many championships as he's won, he's been here at NAGP from literally the beginning, right? But still, even if you're Aaron Parsons, that focus is now totally shifted. You're chasing this guy within 4 seconds the entire race, and now the position's totally reversed, right? Total swap of focus, and yeah, it's always interesting to see what happens when those role reversals take place.
So Simard on the opposite end, in Parsons' previous position, and be able to watch for a little bit and maybe look for a mistake and find a spot and see if he can regain that focus. Taylor, meanwhile, has closed that gap even more. He's now 9 seconds back from these guys, so he's slowly creeping in.
Yeah, Taylor will be pushing. I think he still needs a little bit of discretion. For the guys at the front, if you're involved in this type of fight for the win, you're kind of forced to push the envelope a little bit. So it's it's 12 laps in the final chapter of this race 7 to play out, and it's going to be a good one.
As mentioned earlier, if you guys were late tuning in, Mark DeGraw, currently P11, leads this championship with 120 points. Aaron Parsons, currently P1. He's 9 back of DeGraw with 111, and just 1 behind Parsons is Simard, who we're on board with now. He's got 110, 10 back of DeGraw. So these guys are in a mega fight, and currently, the guy that wins this race could be the championship leader, depending on DeGraw's final position. It'll be very close. Parsons a little bit better than Simard that last lap, 0.3 better.
Yeah, I don't think we've heard the last of Philippe Simard, I'll be honest with you.
Completely agree. Simard, races here at NAGP, fairly new, but he's raced in some other leagues and some different sims. This guy is lightning quick, and like I said, we haven't seen the last of him. He's going to be here for the remainder.
Yeah, and of course, as you know, Kevin, it's always a little slightly easier to chase than it is to try to run away. So that could help refocus Philippe a little bit. I think maybe he did start to wander mentally a little bit there, lose a little bit of focus, as he's as close as he's ever been.
Sure is close now.
Man.
Oh! Parsons keeps it together. We're back on board with Parsons now as he... Whoa! Oh!
Oh, go! Oh my God!
So Parsons slots in for the draft after attempt at 14.
Oh, you can take it in much deeper, but yeah.
Awesome
Same
action from these
situation
two.
here.
Oh!
Oh, I think Parsons was expecting Philippe to back off there, and I think I might have too, but he held the trigger just in case, and it was a good thing he did. Wow.
Awesome action from Parsons and Simard. But yeah, now Simard need to start checking the mirrors, just focus ahead and see if Parsons can come back at him.
They need to have their heart rate monitored and wait till it gets, about half what it is now before they get back at it, because holy smoke. Look, it's almost impossible to drive this track anywhere close to the limit when there's nobody else out there. But let alone side by side, holy cow.
Well, these guys fighting, if you look at the timing there, Taylor only 4.7 seconds back now, so that gap is dwindling fast.
And other great action going on track, fight over 7th, fight over 10th, but obviously this is where a lot of the action is right at the moment. Yeah, I think you're right, Gub. Phil was I think he really recognized, well, Aaron's as veteran as they come. I'm going to take my chance here, and that's okay. That's it's all fair's in love and war, and Aaron Parsons was up to the task. A lot of guys would have kept their foot in it, and there would have been a wreck there. But wow.
Yeah, and I don't see too many guys that right-hander they're going through. I don't see too many guys attacking that apex. They seem to. There's a very fine line they seem to be using with their right side tires, and yeah, Parsons may not have wanted to, put that car over that apex that way.
It was Philippe Simard's corner to give up, right? And I think if you're Philippe Simard and you're battling somebody else, you don't hold the outside line there. I mean, because you're going to get crashed. But I think he understood the situation, and very veteran move from both guys. I mean, that was some astonishing act.
Yeah, so Parsons has not been dropped. Parsons still here directly behind Philippe. DeGraw, meanwhile,
I'm ready for some more, I tell you.
Yeah, I am too. DeGraw, meanwhile, right behind
Taylor's ready
Moses.
for more in third. Sorry.
Oh, no worries, yeah. Yeah, we're going to stick with Parsons and Simard unless DeGraw can get right back on Moses. We'll switch to that maybe for a moment. But yeah, Taylor's still bringing that gap down.
Well, it's an important battle that you mentioned, Moses and DeGraw. I mean, there are important championship points at play for these guys. Both, again, team championship, driver championship. I mean, four teams involved in such a tight race. Every one of these positions is important. Every single race. The way these guys are going, I mean, it's nip and tuck.
The Parsons all over the back of Simard now. Joe LaCour with his stop, he did drop back behind Ricker and Robbins. Hasn't been able to get by yet.
That's a nice battle too, but it is DeGraw who took advantage of a Moses mistake at the final corner, who slips into that 10th position over Chris Moses.
Miller, the next man up for DeGraw. Maybe a little too far up the road, 10 seconds. Nonetheless, excellent effort from DeGraw tonight.
Yeah, still only running into the top 10, but it's not as critical if you can knock off a couple of your championship rivals. It's gonna be tough to get the Joe LaCour, but sure it'll give it a shot. Wow, so still 7 laps. This plenty of time here for all of these guys looking to pick up those positions. The laps will run off relatively quickly there at a minute 30 or so, but they are tough laps, as tough as they come.
It looks like we could have a little bit of a lap traffic coming up. Looks like Myers up the road. He's usually very good about letting people by, and then we got Traskell, Feemster a little further up from him. We'll see if they play a part, but Myers letting the guys by now.
Yeah, looking for an advantage between these guys, and there may be some here or there, but by and large they look pretty equal at all parts of the track. It's more or less impossible, as we talked about the whole race, not to make small mistakes, and so that will probably be key over our last 6 laps here as to who's going to win this thing.
Taylor set his fastest lap of the race last lap. He had a 27.7. That's just off Simard's best of a 27.5.
It's a nice late push. now that these guys have settled, he hasn't continued to make those inroads, has he? But yeah, you're absolutely right. With those lap times, he is definitely holding pace.
Jolicoeur did make it by Ricker and Robbins, so Jolicoeur up to P5 for the French connection, so it's a couple important spots for Ian and the team.
Yeah, sure is. And it is now Joel Ekman putting pressure on Chris Moses over the 11th position.
It is. Moses on the softs, Ekman's on the mediums here. Top of the cockpit with Joel.
Moses is not going to be happy. This is a bit of a mistake. Losing out on some of that practice time. It was sorely needed, apparently.
It's like Danny Kvyat going by Vettel there, right? Parsons,
nice modern reference.
Yeah, Parsons, as we stepped away for a moment, Parsons has lost that time. He's now 3 seconds back. Not seeing any damage. It's hard to tell. There may be a little something on the front end, but yeah, he does lose a little bit of time. About 2 seconds now to Simard. There is some lap traffic in the mix there.
Yeah, clearly a Parsons mistake, and that's what I figured would figure into the deal here. So first one to Parsons, and now it's up to Simard not to do the same. But lap traffic's so tough.
Yeah, he's right here on Ekman and Moses. That is Simard.
Yeah, I promise, Ekman, if you let him through, you will get back up to Moses when he lets them through too.
Moses leaving plenty of room there. Ekman maybe going to take advantage of that, get by Moses again. Oh, Jesus.
These races just never easy. They're just never easy.
Moses letting Aaron by. Good job on Chris. So we right along with Aaron as he's now 2 seconds back. Laps winding down, and Taylor 3.5 seconds back as Simard. So. A lot of action so far, but definitely some fireworks coming up over the last few laps. Jolicoeur somehow slotted back behind Ricker and Robbins now, so he's playing a little up and down.
Taylor having to deal with that traffic as well. Never a dull moment.
See, so Simard through the traffic, not seeing anybody. Maybe Trask a little further ahead, but got a little bit of a gap here to Parsons and showing some consistent pace. Looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think Parsons will go ahead and try to push a little extra. He's not probably going to step over the line, but he's going to push to what he feels he can get away with here. And I think Simard still now he's going to have to be a little bit more careful himself now that he's 3 laps with an opportunity for the win. But we'll see. We've seen Simard not lay back too much when he's been in these positions before.
Taylor seeming to back off a little bit, either due to lap traffic or just happy with his positioning, but he's dropped a little bit of that time. Joel Lacourt might have a chance to make up 3 seconds on Ricker to grab that spot back, but he needs to start moving now. Robbins settled in there at P7. Lechmansky as we run through at P8. Miller P9. DeGraw settled into P10. Still needs to get 7 seconds to get up to Miller. Got a nice gap back to Ekman though. Moses 12's on 13. Traskell 14. Feemster, I think he started from the back. He's up to 15. Greg Myers, P16.
Well, I just have to say again, it's been a pretty amazing job, really, by all our competitors out there still running. It was a really tough challenge tonight. Philippe Simard or Aaron Parsons look like they're going to come away with this one, but everybody deserves a lot of credit, and congratulations for surviving such a tough event.
Absolutely. I started with 20. I've lost 4. But other than that, the racing's been pretty clean compared to what we've seen in the past. So definitely well done. So Simard on 44. 2 more to go after this, and Parsons with that gap down to about a second.
I was going to say it is still 2 to play here, so race definitely not over. It is just one Simard mistake away from a Parsons win.
Parsons puts in his best lap, 27.56. That's just barely off the pace of Simard's best. He was 1.3 seconds faster last lap than Simard, so Parsons maybe got a little something left there.
Yeah, and I suspected that he would go ahead and try to push for whatever was left, kind of within the bounds of reason. I mean, those types of things really do come into play with this particular type of car. I mean, it might be viewers out there that go, well, of course you just push as hard as you can, whatever, shut up. But it's a different consideration in these cars because they can bite you instantly and without warning, right? And so it's not just a question of it's like, okay, I can push, but the consequences might be I'm out of the race. And which is always the case, but not like it is with these cars on this track. So you got to kind of weigh your considerations.
So as Parsons measures that risk now, Simard with 1 lapped car up ahead. Not sure if he's going to be close enough to play a part in this, but that's something to consider here. Parsons going to start the last lap 0.8 back. 27.3 last lap for Aaron, so that's the fastest lap of the race. Simard no slouch though, 27.4 sets his fastest.
He needed to. Top-notch driving by both these guys. Lap traffic in play.
Stay on board with Aaron here. Somebody ducks off nicely there. That's one way to do it. Just get off. Parsons right. Oh!
Hadn't been watching if he went through there in 3rd or 2nd, so he was in 3rd that time, so I'm not sure if he was in that gear or 2nd primarily.
Corner's been so tough for these guys. Saw a lot of them going off there early in practice and quali, and tough to get it right every time, but these guys have been the 2 most consistent. Excellent race here. See if Parsons has anything in the exits here.
Gonna look for the big run coming off, but it's not gonna be enough.
Oh no! Oh no! Keep it together. Where's Taylor at? Taylor just coming through the final corner now, so Parsons will hold on. So awesome job, Simard P1, Parsons 2. Taylor takes that 3rd position with the medium soft strategy. Houston's T-Brock Dambam P4, so very nice job from John carrying the 20 kilos tonight. Ricker and Joe LaCour maybe fighting for a final spot here. Joe LaCour about 5/10 back, a couple corners to go. Joe LaCour might feel like he left a little out there tonight. He's had quite a few incidents. But Ricker's going to give him that spot.
Oh.
Ricker will lose it right there. Penultimate corner. Joe LaCour will slip by, grab P5. A couple of free points for Ian.
That is about the worst feeling on the planet.
Yeah, that's not good. So Ricker, though, another nice finish for Ricker. He'll lose his 10 kilos. Robbins, P7. And looks like Lemansky's going to be the last runner on the lead lap. He'll take P8. So I guess, do we have the power to bring Mr. Simard up here?
Sure, we can do that if you like. Let's get him. Philippe Simard, the race winner here of round 7. Philippe Simard, welcome. Talk us through it.
Oh man, thought it would be a bit easier after practice, but still managed to pull a tiny gap at the first pit stop. I would have liked to be a bit more because, as you saw, it's easy to make a tiny mistake. Then I fell behind Aaron. That made it very interesting for me. I was able to pass him maybe 2-3 laps after, and then I found a better rhythm. I was able to pull a gap once more, and then was just bring it home.
It's a nice race tonight, Philippe, with the win. You sound like maybe not winded, but a little stressed. But with the 7/10 gap leading into the race, were the softs the decision the whole time for you? Did the math say do the softs, or was that just a case being on the front row and wanting to have the pace?
No, the softs on the mat, the softs were way faster. I mean, we're talking at least 20-25 seconds faster in total race time. So I don't know why exactly on this track it's like that, but here for me it was a no-brainer to go on the softs, even further down the field or no matter where I was on the grid. Yeah,
well, as a strategy we hadn't seen you employ a lot over the course of the season. Of course, I meant race round 9, not 7, but it was some very tense moments with Aaron Parsons, and just what was the heart rate like? Look, we saw the eventual when you were able to get ahead finally, and it looked to me like it was a bit of a decision if you were going to back off on the outside or if Aaron Parsons. What was going through your head?
My decision was to give him space. My last instant decision, but there was no doubt in my mind that I could take this corner flat, even leaving him some space on the inside. So I think it's just a matter of him not being sure if he was able to stick to the apex and not run into me. But as far as I'm concerned, I was sure I was able to go flat out, even leaving space on the inside for him.
Well, it was an incredible race for you. Congratulations, well done. Had some great action. Moving on to Spa next week, another challenge. And we're controlling the audio here. I'm gonna move you back down, but congratulations on a great win tonight.
Thank you.
Nice job, Phil.
Looking forward to Spa. Thanks.
All right, so that concludes round 9 here in Hungary. Philippe Simard, the winner. Aaron Parsons and Matt Taylor finishing up the podium. But I think the team championship still going to be very tight. Individual as well. Same story next week as we head to Spa. Any final thoughts for you, Brad?
Yeah, it's still going to be incredibly tight. This was an amazing race by the front two, and again, kudos to the rest of the field. I think the primary story tonight really is that Chris Moses, he's going to be missing out on some points tonight for himself, well and truly up there in the championship standings, and then of course for his team, PMR. So they are going to be not on the outside looking in, but they're going to be dropping back at that 4-team battle. It's still going to be close, and so they're not going to be out of it by any stretch. But It's going to be a little bit more pressure as we do run 12 rounds here, but the rounds are starting to run out. So only 3 more to go after this race, and each one of those results is going to count now if you're PMR.
Yeah, so it's going to be an exciting finish for these guys. The GT League Thursday night will be broadcast. Jack and Jake will be live from Mexico Thursday night, and then the Monday crew next week. Al should be back with Brad at Spa. So yeah, can't wait. Brad, have a great night.